Karen's voice echoed across the cul-de-sac as she marched down the sidewalk like she owned it. Clipboard in one hand, phone in the other. She pointed a sharp, accusing finger at the boat parked on my driveway. "You have until noon to move that thing, or I'm having it towed," she barked. She didn't knock, didn't ask, didn't care. What she also didn't know was this. That boat wasn't mine. It belonged to the governor's son and I was just doing him a favor. Karen was about to find out that some lines you don't cross, especially when they're lined with state flags and security details. Ever had an entitled neighbor try to flex fake power? Hit subscribe if you believe in standing up to bullies, and drop a comment if your HOA has ever gone too far. It started like any normal Saturday morning. I was out front watering my hedges, enjoying the peace of a rare quiet weekend, when I heard the unmistakable click-click of Karen's orthopedic sandals stomping across the pavement. She didn't say good morning. She didn't even look at me. Her eyes locked on the pristine, navy blue Mastercraft boat parked beside my garage. It had just arrived the night before, trailered in behind a blacked-out Escalade, and yes, it was beautiful. Fresh, polished, chrome trim, state-issued security tags on the windshield. I knew it might raise eyebrows. What I didn't expect was for Karen to turn into a full-on villain about it. See, Karen was the HOA president of Oakland Estates, a neighborhood that prided itself on order, lawns cut to regulation length, and mailbox paint codes. I've kept to myself mostly. My wife passed 3 years ago, and since then it's just been me and my dog Max. I didn't attend HOA meetings, didn't gossip over fences, I just kept things quiet. But that boat? That changed everything. Not because it was against the rules, it wasn't. We were allowed 72 hours for guests to park recreational vehicles. But because Karen decided it didn't belong, or rather, I didn't belong. I saw her phone rise as she snapped a picture, and I calmly walked over, still holding the hose. "Morning, Karen," I said. "Need something?" She gave me that tight, fake smile that always felt more like a warning than a greeting. "Boats aren't allowed in driveways," she snapped. "I'm filing a report, and if it's not gone by noon, I'll have it towed." I almost laughed. "That boat isn't mine," I said. "It belongs to a friend. He's visiting for the weekend." "Well, tell your friend to read the HOA rules," she said, tapping her clipboard. "We run a respectable community." And with that, she turned on her heel and stomped off. What Karen didn't know was that the friend she wanted to tow wasn't just any weekend guest. His name was Marcus Daniels, son of Governor Charles Daniels, former naval officer, quiet, polite, and yeah, filthy rich. He'd called me 2 days earlier, asking if he could crash for the weekend. While his lake house was undergoing renovations, said he needed a break from the State House circus. I agreed. We'd met during a veterans fundraising campaign years ago and stayed in touch. I told him he was always welcome. What I didn't expect was for Karen to try to tow his $300,000 custom boat. I tried to warn her politely, but Karen didn't do warnings. She filed an official HOA complaint that afternoon and called a tow company. I only found out because Marcus happened to overhear the call while lounging in a chair on my front porch. He looked at me and smiled. "Want me to handle it?" he asked. I shrugged. "Up to you." He pulled out his phone, made one call. 10 minutes later, a black SUV with state plates rolled up. Out stepped the plainclothes officers, and one of them knocked on Karen's door. The expression on her face when she saw them was priceless. Confused, defensive, then terrified. They explained calmly that the vehicle she was attempting to tow was government property, under security clearance, and any attempt to remove it would result in immediate legal action. Karen tried to backtrack, said she was just looking out for the neighborhood. But the officer just handed her a printed copy of the HOA guest policy and told her to have a good day. The next HOA meeting was packed. Word had spread. Karen tried to spin the story, saying she was just enforcing the rules. But people were tired of her. One by one, neighbors spoke up. About the time she'll find a family for leaving up Halloween decorations 2 days too long. About the time she ordered a teenager to repaint their mailbox because it was slightly off-white. About the notes she left on windshields, the tow threats, the spying. The neighborhood voted unanimously to remove her as president. A younger couple took over. More reasonable, more fair. Karen moved out 6 months later. Said the community had lost its standards. I still see Marcus sometimes. He bought a house nearby. Leaves his boat in the same driveway just to spite her memory. And every time I see that polished hull gleaming in the sun, I smile. Because sometimes the best revenge is just letting people hang themselves with their own rules. But that wasn't the last we heard of Karen. About 2 months after she moved out, I received a letter in the mail from a lawyer's office. Karen was threatening to sue me for defamation, claiming that the boat incident had led to harassment and public embarrassment. At first, I laughed it off until Marcus got wind of it. Without saying a word, he contacted his father. The governor's office issued a quiet statement through legal channels explaining the situation, the state's involvement, and the legality of everything that had transpired. Karen's case dissolved faster than a sugar cube in hot coffee. She never pursued it again. In fact, rumor had it, she moved to a new neighborhood 2 counties over one with no HOA. Marcus and I laughed about it over beers one evening on my porch, the boat glinting in the sunset behind us. Some people never learn, he said. I nodded, but thankfully, some of us do. That boat remained parked there for every major holiday weekend, and every time I caught a neighbor walking by with their kids, staring wide-eyed at the gleaming hull and waving at us, I knew we had one, not just against Karen, but against the kind of petty tyranny that tries to control every corner of your peace. Sometimes, justice doesn't need a courtroom, just a driveway, a friendship, and a really, really nice boat.